meeting. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. If you could please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thanks. Thank you. So item 3, meeting minutes. From our July meeting, we needed to forego our August meeting. So thank you for those that got pushed off to this meeting. Thank you for your patience. Do we have any comments or questions from any of the commission members on the meeting minutes? Any public comment? All right, I'll make a motion to approve the July 24th minutes. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Item 4, consent agenda. So for the record, I'm just going to read off the addresses. 423 Radnor Street Road, 521 Fox Run Lane, 312 Beech Tree Lane, 433 Conestoga, 16 Longwood Drive, 670 Newtown Road, 309 Beech Tree Lane, and 909 Wooten Road. Do I have anyone that wants to pull anything off of consent? Matt, would you like to give us a general overview of those that are on consent?
Yeah, I mean, it's we usually don't have eight properties on consent, but this is 2 months worth of applications. So Kristen and I visually inspected every property. We also went over all the plans together. Everything was in order. Out of the 8 properties, there's 5 trees being removed. All the tree protection on all the plans was very adequate, so I think it's all fine.
Great. Thank you for that overview. Any public comment on any of the addresses on consent? All right. I'll make a motion to approve all items on consent. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right. Item 5, new grading permits. So first up, we have 530 Camp Woods Circle. Good evening. If you could just introduce yourself, relation to the project. So this is a new family dwelling and pool, 360 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 7 trees to be removed.
Great. Good evening, everyone. My name is Harry Heilig-Gergel. I work for Site Engineering Concepts and I'm the professional engineer for this project. I'm representing the owner at 530 Campwood Circle, John Williams and Casey Murphy. As can be seen on the existing conditions plan, this is an undeveloped lot, and it's located between Atterbury Road and Campwood Circle. Moving to sheet 2, we can see our tree replacement calculations as well as our required replacement trees. As can be seen, we're removing 6 trees, which are located 3 over here, 3 over here for access to the property, as well as 1 tree located in the center of the property, as it will be in the way of the proposed improvements. Moving to sheet 3, we can see our schedule of proposed replacement trees. We have 5 cryptomeria evergreen trees proposed for replacement, as well as 2 white oak trees and 2 black gum trees. These trees will be along the perimeter of the property and will act as a screen to prevent the property from outside view. Moving to the final sheet of the plan set, sheet 5, you will see the Radnor Township tree protection fencing detail along with the rest of our erosion and sediment pollution control details. All of the remaining erosion and sediment pollution controls, including the tree protection fencing, can be seen on page 2 of the proposed plan set. Any questions?
That was fantastic. Thank you. All the details. Could you just indicate for us, there should be an orange pointer in the podium. Just outline the tree protection visually for us.
Yes, of course. You can see tree protection fencing along the trees at the entrance on the Campwood Circle of the property. As well as that, we have tree protection fencing that runs, again, along the planned west side of the property, all the way out to Atterbury Road. Moving down the access drive along Atterbury Road, you can see tree protection fencing along the existing trees on this access drive. Moving on to the east side of the property, you can see tree protection fencing around all trees that are within the proximity of the limit of disturbance along the eastern side of the property. As well as that, as we move to the southern side of the property and continue wrapping around, you can see our tree protection fencing around these trees on this edge. As well as that, we have compost filter stocks to stop any runoff that contains sediment.
Great, thank you. So it looks like all trees on the property are around the perimeter. Any trees that are within the dwelling or limit of disturbance either are being removed or just non-existent. So I'm comfortable with tree protection. I confirmed your replacement formula looks good. Your species are fine to me, but would happy to hear any other comments on the commission. All good? Do we have any public comment? Okay. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next address, 16 Ferriston Road, new family dwelling, 60 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 1 tree to be removed. Good evening and welcome back.
Good evening, everybody. How are you tonight? Long time no see.
Long time.
You guys have a good summer?
It was great, thank you.
Perfect. Tonight, well, we were supposed to be here last August. We were supposed to be here in August, but that got canceled. So really, I'm just here to finalize this project. We have been in front of you numerous times for 14, and now we're here for 16. So really, I'm just here to get any comments back from the Shade Tree Commission as just part of the ongoing development. So if there's anything that you guys would like to know, need, please let me know, and we can move forward. My understanding is we're going to be submitting, again, finalized comments from the township engineer and move forward. And one of his general comments was, we note that the applicant is scheduled to appear before the Shade Tree Commission on August 28th, 24. Comments may develop from the result of that meeting must be addressed prior to the issuance of the grading permit. So that's why I'm here.
Great, thank you. And if specific to 16 Ferriston, could you remind us if that specific property was seen before us?
My understanding, yes. We have talked about this. So we had to do, so it was a couple larger trees in here. There was a couple other ones along the property line that this neighbor did not like that were removed. We came up with the replacement calculations. I think also maybe a fee in lieu of too, if my memory correct, if I'm correct in my memory.
But that was specific to 14 and not 16, right?
No, I want to say 16, because we've
Okay.
already been here for 16 before.
Okay, because on our agenda, we have 1 tree to be removed. Is that still the case?
And that's what I'm not sure of. I'm not sure where that came from, and I even asked the administrative assistant over there what that was for.
Okay.
If we go to the plan set itself, you can see that we are removing quite a few, most of them having issues with being older and decay, post-decay issues.
Do you recall what month you were here for 16? Was it in
I
July?
want to say March, April, possibly.
Okay, let me take a look at the
I think,
minutes.
yeah, we were here talking about this tree right here. This was that large oak that John had gone out and had taken a look at, because that was something that was of concern. When he went out there, he looked at it and then actually pretty much copied me on what I thought was wrong with the tree. But again, I needed him to go out there and take a look at it.
That was 14.
That was 14?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let me just bring up the minutes here. And any other details that you can help provide while we're digging into this would be beneficial in regards to, we had made requests, you're back, and we just need to confirm that those requests have been satisfied. So just give us a minute while we're looking those up. But if you have those available, we can start there. Bear with me. You said March?
I'm not positive on the
Okay.
date, to be honest with you.
Okay. I started at March. I am going down through the list.
Mike, I think what occurred was your admin, when they completed the permit, just duplicated and kept the one tree on,
Oh, okay,
which I believe that's what occurred.
okay.
Meaning, John, that 14 had trees, 16 has one tree.
No, 14 had one tree.
I got you, understood.
Filled out the application.
Mhm.
Just didn't come off the application. It was
Got it.
just a duplicate.
Mhm.
So I can blame my engineering training?
We're blaming you. You're here tonight.
So while I'm digging this up, if you could just go through for us in detail the trees being removed specific to 16, give us their DBHs, species, and then your replacements, just as a review.
I think we can do that.
What we have in our agenda is not a digital
It's just
version.
one
We
tree.
we just have the application, so I don't have the detail that you're seeing right now.
I apologize, because this was like a last minute for me to come out here. Unfortunately, can you blow this up by chance? Because unfortunately, I can't read it at this smaller scale, because it looks like we have the DBHs.
You're looking for the amount of trees that are
No,
getting
we're
taken
looking for the sizes. I know this was a large oak. We have 2 hickories back there. There's another hickory over here. There were 2 oaks over here. There was another hickory there, and then this was a maple. And they were all in caliper, which we did do a replacement for.
Do you have a table
Yes, I do, right here.
to indicate? Okay.
14 or 16?
16. Did you
Read
find
right
it?
here. Again, sorry about that. Okay, so to be removed, we have maple, we have 2 pines, a white pine, actually 3 different kinds of pine, 1 white pine, a hickory, another pine, a hickory, and another oak. Those were to be removed. Unfortunately, the majority of the trees on the site were coming down, and several of them were in poor condition. Obviously, the maple, which is a Norway maple, was in poor condition, and then the large oak, which was that one along the front of the property, that one was in poor condition also. That's the one that John had gone out and looked at. The other ones we were doing replacements of, and if I'm not mistaken, we did put them all back on site.
Ian, could you zoom in as much as you can to the table? Thank you. I had just looked through all of our meeting minutes, and I do recall 14 Ferriston, but not 16. But it was, this is a subdivision, correct?
Correct. Yes, at first it was a grading plan just for 14, and then they went to subdivision, and now it's 16.
Okay, that might be the trouble. What month was this from? June.
Meeting minutes for the meeting, June 28th.
Okay. Bear with us.
Did you guys start planting trees yet, or on the property?
No, they haven't.
Connor with the builder. I'm
Correct.
with Rockwell Custom.
Okay.
I think maybe with the 14-16 mix-up, we just got assigned 16 Ferriston not too long ago. So we were coming in under the address of 14 Ferriston, so I don't know if that has something to do with it.
Yeah. Do you have that again? Sorry. It's June 26th.
Oh, that's great.
2023.
That is correct.
Okay. Let me just look at this table real quick. So that top maple tree is in poor condition. That's a 25-inch maple?
Correct, 26, correct.
26, okay. This is easier on the eyes. And then the 55-inch oak,
Correct.
And, John, do you recall going out to look at those?
I
Okay.
do, because that was brought up during our last meeting, that 16 would be coming in front of us. At some point, they discussed it. So when I was out there, we did review those, and, you know, I do concur, they're in bad conditions. We just have to check their math on the remaining trees.
Sure, okay, thank you. Sorry about this, we're usually a little bit more prepared than this, but
Me too.
give us a moment here. Okay. So 30 total required. And,
Putting 20 large shades back in, 9 evergreens and 1 flowering.
understood, okay. And both the 55-inch and the 26-inch were verified by John. You had submitted a hazard tree report that was confirmed, so those are excluded from the calculation. And then, sorry if I missed this, do you have a planting plan with species identified?
Yes, that would be the planting plan down at the bottom.
Okay.
Which is down on the floor.
All good. Been there, done that. All right. That's good, Ian, thank you. All right, so red maple, plane tree,
Honey locust,
honey locust.
silver bell. That's
Some
the
green
flowering kind.
giants.
Green giant arbs because
Silver
of
bell,
deer
okay.
resistant and also don't grow massively.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 677 up top? In the quantities?
Yes.
Yeah. It's the 20 large canopy trees.
Yep. And then 10
9
regular
evergreens
trees.
and then 1 flowering tree.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The math checks out to me. Can we just review, Ian, if you could zoom out, and if we could just review the tree protection specific to 16 Ferriston? And then I think we'll have all the info we need.
Well, we have a protection detail here.
Yeah, that's great, but if you could just go to the site plan itself and show us as indicated, because we don't have a digital version of this, so I can't necessarily pick it out without you.
Well, since there's no trees left on the site, there really is no tree protection needed. All the trees on 14 are going to be brand new.
Mm-hmm.
What I do see is, and I'm seeing it now, is these 2 hickories back here. It looks like they are looks like they revised the grading on me without telling me. So we're going to need tree protection around them or replacement. I'll have to check with the engineer to see if we can tighten that up, or that grade line up a little bit. So this is the area that I'm concerned about now.
Sure. Yeah, so that's a grading line and not a tree protection line? That
Correct.
darker line? Okay.
Yeah, that's a grading line.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty close to those two guys.
Correct.
What DBH are those? Are they?
30s,
Okay.
30 and 22.
Okay. Yeah, so what I would recommend, 100% get some tree protection indicated on plans and obviously installed around those guys. And then, are you aware of any neighboring trees that are not indicated on the plans? I'll do a quick Google Earth just to check it out.
Not to my knowledge, in close proximity. Back here was an existing house, and there was a sidewalk that actually ran through here that was removed. And that's this location here, and the sidewalk here. And you can see the sidewalk actually runs right along that that tree as it is. So they're going to be removing all of this, even though it's not on site.
Mm-hmm.
And that tree is also in close proximity to the demo, so the odds of maybe saving that are minimal,
Mm-hmm.
only because of what do you have to do to demo a house.
Sure. Just give me one moment. Okay, so to the left of the Ferriston lot, there are a grouping of trees, of which is going to be removed. And then the next property, which is 18 Ferriston, it does look like there are some trees on the property line that are on the 18 lot and not the 16 lot.
It would be this lot over here, is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Would you like this, would you like them shown, or?
Yeah, so anytime there's a drip line that falls within the property of question, we like to see them indicated strictly because, that root system could be, on this property, on 16. So my request would be tree protection at the back, tree protection along the 18 side. Show the trees that are there, just so that, the neighbors' trees are unaffected.
Okay.
Making sure that, no large equipment are compacting the soil and the roots around those trees. And then on the back of the property, I see that, so you have the courts, tennis courts. That line of, looks to be Green Giants or something similar.
Yes, they are.
Is that a part of
No,
16?
that's off the property.
That's off the property. And are they far away enough where they will not be impacted by grading?
Correct, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're in a different township also.
Okay. Got it. Understood.
Not to say we don't care about that, but.
Sure. Okay. I think those would be my requests. Any other comments from the commission?
Could you just go back to that last page where it showed the, all the plastic you're bearing, what is the stormwater system? I think this. Yeah, right there. Are those trees to the right, are they existing or are they
No,
new
no,
plantings?
they're all new. That's
Okay,
off
gotcha.
of 14.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any public comment? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve contingent upon getting those plans updated as described with the tree protection, the neighbors' trees indicated, get that submitted back to the township. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Would you, am I supposed to, would you like me to come back then too, after we make?
Don't need to come back as long as those two hickories that you had noted stay.
Okay.
And you're just adding the tree protection. That's fine. Get the plans submitted to the township and you're good by us.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a nice evening.
You as well. Thank you. All right, next address, 679 Mill Road, patio and sunroom, 63 cubic yards of dirt. 0 trees to be removed. Good evening.
How are you doing? My name is Andrew Malmstrom with Site Engineering Concepts. I am representing the property owners, Jill and Verso and David Simmons for their property at 679 Mill Road. Currently, the property is developed with a single-family dwelling. The proposed construction is going to happen in the rear of the dwelling. Currently, there is a flagstone patio that will be removed, and in its place, where the applicant proposes to construct a sunroom and a proposed patio. Stormwater management is provided for the proposed improvements. No trees are proposed to be removed at this time, and tree protection is provided within 25 feet of the limit of disturbance.
Great, thank you. Assuming the construction egress is through the existing drive?
That is correct. So the construction egress is located right here, right off of the asphalt driveway, and will be constructed if cleaning of tires on the driveway is ineffective.
Got it. Matt, any comments on this one?
Yeah, my only concern was like if they change out the construction entrance, are they going to in any way affect the maple that's down in the corner? It's a pretty big tree, 38-inch maple. You're driving a lot of vehicles past it. You know, I don't know how tight you're going to be on that, but if you could construction mat that around that tree.
I can provide fencing around the
Something
tree
that
down there,
would,
that'd be fine.
yeah, because you see it all the time where people park under trees who are working on site,
Sure.
and you don't want that.
Yeah, I can note that to be protected along the driveway.
Is the drive remaining, or is it going
The
to be?
drive's proposed to be to remain,
But is it going to be resurfaced or redone?
not to my knowledge.
Okay, so trying to save the driveway.
Yep.
Okay. And I see the tree protection fencing in the back.
Yeah, so
Um,
There's tree protection fencing.
Yeah, if you could point it out
Yep.
for us, that would
It
be
is
great.
located out along the trees down to the northwest of the property, down by the creek. That runs all the way along this side of this tree line. The additional evergreens are protected here, and then there's a 6-inch maple that's closer to the limit of disturbance that has its own protection fencing.
Got it. Okay, seems straightforward. Any other comments? Any public comment? All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you so much. Good luck
Thank you
with
very
your
much.
project. All right, 223 Stratford Ave, pool and patio, 66 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 0 trees to be removed. Good evening.
Good evening, Michael Boker with Apex Design and Engineering Group. I think we've been in front of you once or twice on this project, and this is the second time for this lot in particular. We're back now just to install the pool in the rear yard of the property. New trees or additional trees are scheduled to come down. They do intend to still install the required plantings on this lot from the subdivision. We'll notice a couple trees in close proximity to the work. There's a large oak tree to the one side of the pool. That tree was actually scheduled to be removed, so the developer is taking measures necessary to save that tree and incorporating that around. You'll see a small wall, kind of creating a tree well around that tree to help preserve it. If I go to the existing conditions plan, around that tree and another tree that was scheduled to stay, this being the oak tree, you'll see there were structures already on that side of the tree that have been removed. So the wall will actually be outside that first structure, further away from the tree. And the second tree in close proximity is here. It's a multi-stem crepe maple. You can see there were improvements, pool house, patio around that tree before construction began that has been removed as well.
Great, thank you. And to confirm, that 38-inch is staying?
Is staying, was scheduled to be removed, but they have saved it. Yes.
Great. Thank you for putting in the efforts to save that tree. We appreciate it, especially a heritage tree. Looks straightforward to me, assuming tree protection. I mean, there's a wall there.
There's a wall there. That wall's actually sitting there now, so that side of that tree is protected outside of where those structures used to be.
Okay.
And there is, again, where that other crepe myrtle is, there were improvements around most of that tree, but there is tree protection around that that will stay while this is under construction.
And there's a wall at
Same thing.
at the back with that
Yes.
8-inch tree?
Correct.
Okay. John, what's your opinion on tree protection? If there's, how high is the wall or the walls?
The walls are only like 2.5 feet at most.
2.5
Yeah.
feet? Is that's sufficient? Okay, cool. Any other comments? Public comment? All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, 770 Newtown Road, a pool, 60 cubic yards of dirt to be taken off site, 0 trees to be removed. Do we have anyone from 770 Newtown Road?
I saw somebody walk out here. Let me see if they're out there.
Okay.
What is it, 770?
770 Newtown, yep.
This was a property where I called because they didn't have any shade tree protection fencing on their plan. Otherwise, the plan looked good. So they said they corrected it.
Okay.
I don't know if they're not showing tonight, but
Okay. Okay. We will table that applicant for the time being. 474 Marl Bridge Way, demo and new family dwelling, 60 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 1 tree to be removed. Good evening.
I'm Chris Doherty with Shot Group, professional engineer. Just going to jump right to our ENS plan. So as you said, removing, demoing an existing single-family structure to build a new single-family structure. On our revision 0, which is the one you guys have, we have since added some tree protection per the review from the township engineer, mainly concerned with the trees along the neighboring property to the northeast. So over here, we added this section of tree protection over here, added this long section of tree protection just to protect those trees on the neighboring lot, make sure none of those are impacted at all. We did also extend the tree protection down on this side of the lot per the township engineer comments, and then added some tree protection as well under the level spreader over in this section. We do have 1 tree to be removed. It can be seen here on the site plan. That's why we're removing it. It's right in the middle of everything. And that's a 14-inch cedar, and we plan to replace that with 1 replacement tree. That's shown on our first sheet, sheet 1.
What is the species of the proposed replacement?
We did not specify a replacement species, just that we were planning one.
That's fine. I mean, we do have a recommended tree list, so as long as it's grabbed from that, I think that's fine. And the tree to be removed, I see it's smack in the middle of the walkway. Was there any thought given around having the walkway go around the tree?
So let me just, I'm just going to pull up the first sheet, the demo sheet. It just looks like it would be very difficult to save
Sure.
based on the location next to the removal of the existing house. It's kind of right next to the existing house right now. So let me point it out. It's right there.
Got it, understood. Okay. I mean, ideally, if it could be saved, great, but understand that there's going to be a lot of grading going on because the footprint of the home is changing, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So lots of dirt being moved around.
Correct.
Tree protection looks good to me. I understand the removal. Would highly encourage the replacement to be a large canopy tree if you can fit it in somewhere. That would be ideal. Street trees we love. Maybe off to the bottom left of that
Somewhere
lot, yeah.
over here?
Be a good spot.
Okay.
Yeah. But just a suggestion, not a requirement. Any other thoughts, questions? Any public comment? All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Good luck.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next address, 579 East Lancaster Ave, Radnor Hotel Garden Improvements. Good evening.
Good evening, thank you. This is actually the second time I've been here as we went through the land development process. This property was here. The kind of what is the formal gardens, we're doing some improvements back there. And in doing these improvements, we're removing 26 trees and replacing them with 30, 4 of which will be the large canopy trees. These are, the plan is the same as that you saw previously, so there's been no changes to it.
And do you recall when we had reviewed these plans?
I do not know that off the top of my
It
head.
was a while ago.
I want to say 4 months,
Okay.
about.
And they were approved, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I think you were absent that day, and I think you were chairing it, Jim. Yes.
Okay. Good memory, better than mine.
If you knew which one you weren't at, that would quickly find it.
There we go. It was the March meeting, yeah. We're off in Ireland. All right. Just looking through the replacements again real quick, just to remind myself. Well, not even a remind, just to look at it for the first time. All right. And it looks like all of the trees coming out are fairly small diameter, except for there's a 24-inch magnolia, 22-inch black spruce.
And I think those two are kind of dead center of where the work is going on.
Got it, okay. And the species going back in, red maples, a myrrh maple, serviceberry, sweet birch, hornbeam, yellowwood, crabapple. All trees we love. Cool. Don't like to see trees come out, but understand this is going to be a beautiful new space with new trees for everyone to enjoy, of whom are patrons of the Radnor Hotel. Okay. So I see that there are some trees staying. Any of those are close to the limit of disturbance, required
Yes.
tree protection?
You can kind of, I don't know where, the trees are really on the perimeter. All the work is being done on the inside. It's these trees along here, and there's tree protection kind of going along, protecting them along there.
Got it, okay. And when is this work planned to happen? Just curious.
Soon.
Okay. I did see some construction happening at the restaurant right now.
There's kind of construction going on
All
everywhere
over-
there
all over
right
the
now.
place. Got it, understood. Okay, I have no further questions. Any questions from the commission? Any public comment? All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. Good luck.
you. Thanks.
Can't wait to see how it turns out. Thank you. All right, 60 West, we were notified that they're going to skip come next meeting. All right. Now we move on to tree removal clearing permits. So we have 3 of those. Wicklow Court, good evening.
Good evening. If I'm not loud enough, let me know. I have Parkinson's. Sometimes I'm a little quiet.
No problem. We can hear you just fine. Thanks.
My name is Skip Kunda. My wife here is with me. We're co-presidents of 7 of Wicklow Court. It's a 8-unit condominium at Conestoga and West Wayne. I had submitted a packet as part of our application. I don't know if you've had a chance to see the packet.
We have the packet in front of us, but if you could just describe the project, that would be fantastic. Thanks.
We can do some look down, if you like.
So specific to what we would need to understand and review this evening would be any trees coming out, trees going in, tree protection. So if you could run us through.
As to tree protection, I think we're have a rare circumstance where we have access from paved surfaces along here. There's a driveway. Along here, there's a sidewalk.
Excuse me real quick. I think their arborist is coming in, Matt Ward. If we want to just bump them out for a second and bring somebody on, I think Matt wanted to go over this.
Yeah.
Well, I have some information that I could start now. and
Sure,
show you.
it's totally up to you.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's cool. I'd like to show you a picture of what we proposed roughly to do after the trees are gone, which Matt is not part of, but
Sure.
and does not know about. everything in color is a replant or new. So these are green giant arborvitae. These are junipers. These are like hydrangea, limelights, things like that, hosta. There's existing trees that we won't be disturbing. We are putting a fence in roughly from here on the junipers around this corner, up here and over to here. The fence will be gray in response to some comments that the board made in the zoning hearing board, and the public. So the red are crepe myrtles, and there's a list of everything right here.
Got it. And the scope of the project, strictly just a landscaping refresh? There's no structure disturbance or anything else?
There's no hardscape. The only structure is a fence, and that's a 6-foot fence. We have a permit for that and approval.
Okay. And then the total number of trees coming out and total number of trees going in?
Are roughly similar. Depends on how you look at a tree. There's a number of arborvitae that are 2 and 3 feet tall that are deteriorated substantially because they were planted under the deciduous trees in the first place, and so they look really bad and really stunted. But they're coming out too, and they won't be replaced under the deciduous trees because there's insufficient light, so we'll have other more appropriate plantings.
Sure. Yeah, our ordinance states anything 6 inches in DBH or larger. So it sounds like those 3-footers might be under that.
I would say all the arborvitae, being the emerald variety as opposed to green giant, have less than 6-inch trunks because they're all multi-trunk.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you aggregate the trunk sometimes,
Yes.
but
yes.
even at that point, they're more like bushes than they are trees.
That'll be an argument for centuries.
The Leland cypress escaped their container, so to speak. Were planted in 2008, and Matt will address that when he comes in, but they're not providing much of a privacy barrier at the ground level because they've spread out, and I think Matt's...
Here he comes. Perfect timing.
So I'll let him take over.
That's how he makes an entrance.
Mm-hmm.
I told him what we're going to do after you take the trees out, but you have to tell them why we're taking the trees out.
Sure.
And I have photographs if you want to, I know they have this packet, but if you want to use them,
Right.
that's a particularly good one.
We've been working with the folks at Wicklow for many years, and we've been dealing with the Leyland cypresses, and we've had a lot of storm issues, and the row of Leylands to come out is leaning towards the neighbor's parking lot, and we're starting to lose some lower foliage, and you can see in the photos the lean. So this is a removal and replacement program with some thoughtful.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you.
So we're looking to remove the Leyland cypress and replace them with long-term screen trees that make sense in this area. And then along Conestoga Road is an inferior arborvitae variety, and they've kind of aged out. So they're multiple leaders, and the overall plan is to do some fencing and planting. So we're excited about the number of plants going in and the long-term focus that the community has to better the aesthetics, safety, and I think it's a good plan. So inferior trees coming out, thoughtfully planted trees going in, and the DBH of everything is at most maybe 12 inches down to 6 inches. So they're not big trees.
Thank you for that background. So I do see, I'm just trying to get a count of the total coming out and then the total going in.
Roughly we estimated 50 coming out and between 48 and 52 going in.
Okay. I mean, I trust the counts, and I trust that you'll, I mean, the idea is to replace 1-to-1 for the most part? Is that the idea?
That's the idea.
Okay. I would feel most comfortable if we had a table showing, here are the trees coming out. I do see that you have a table showing what's going in, the planting schedule, but I don't see a table indicating those coming out.
Matt, can you get me a table over for the actual removals versus the plan proposed?
I can.
Perfect. I'm not worried about it because it's a buffer, so.
Sure.
Are they mostly Leland cypress and those,
No, it's mostly arborvitae coming out.
the ones that were in the picture there?
You kinda
Like
see
up top right?
Yeah, they're arborvitae.
So I mean, they're not even 6-inch DBH, are they?
No, no, I'm 2 blocks from there, so I've walked around. They're pretty much decrepit. These plants are shot.
And the Lelands are terrible too, so I would chop them out.
So by way of the count, if you look at the count, they're actually overcompensating by like 23 trees.
So the sheet that's black and white and colored in, so 34 green giants. What is that, 6 to 10 junipers?
Yes, it depends on how it looks at planning time. They're going to bring 10. If it makes more sense to put in 10, we'll put in 10.
Understood.
I think it's Clark Brothers out of Oxford.
Okay. But those, I thought those were the trees coming out. Those are trees
Yeah.
going in?
This is all trees going in.
Okay. Got it.
I have an overview of the original. This is a little hard to read. It was in your packet roughly. This is more or less what was there.
Right.
In fact, it's not what was there so much as this is an original construction page for landscape plannings from 2008. Right here, there was never supposed to be any arborvitae, or here. But in fact, they weren't supposed to be arborvitae. They were supposed to be hinoki cypress, but that's probably another story.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been nice.
It might have been a lot nicer. We might not be having this conversation, right? So these hinokis all became Lelands, and these hinokis all became arborvitae emerald, which don't work. And the other thing that happens, and I have other photographs, if it helps, the arborvitae are intruding on about 20 feet of sidewalk, and to remove the overhang, 50% intrusion over the sidewalk for safety purposes would render it basically the trunk. So it would lose its impact. The new ones will be trimmed routinely and planted a little further in.
Sure. Okay. And I see there's a couple of existing larger canopy trees that are obviously staying and remaining.
They're doing well.
Good. And is there any room as part of your replanting plan to throw in 1 or 2 larger trees?
Well, it's under negotiation. We have a preliminary plan that has mainly focused on Nellie Stevens and crepe myrtles, sort of intermediate height as opposed to a large canopy tree. We have a large canopy clump over here, which is not on this, over here. There's a bunch of locusts. So we have large canopy trees on the property. It just, you can see there's very little room in right here between the structures and the edge of the property.
The property is pretty well planted. There's maples between the parking area and the building that are maintained.
Okay.
So there's pretty dense canopy on the property.
While you're going through the exercise, if there's one spot to throw a large canopy, great. If not, no worries. I understand this is more of a buffer than anything and restoring it.
Well, if we lost a tree, we'd certainly replace it. We're not looking to have a tree fall over and not have something in its place.
Much appreciate that. Any other comments?
Yeah, the juniper virginiana, the Taylors,
Yes, that's what-
hopefully you use them. They're good trees.
They are
They're
gonna
good
be
for
Taylors.
screening too.
They are gonna be Taylors, as I
Yeah,
understand.
it's a good tree.
Any public comment? So I'll make a motion to approve, providing that we get an updated plan submitted with a table showing the exact counts of trees coming out, trees going in. I think this is a unique project that, it's clear what you're doing. It looks like you're going to be planting more than required. And, I'm comfortable with that moving forward. But it's a contingency, so, as soon as you can get that in, Township will verify. As long as everything looks good, then, work can start.
Yeah, I'll get that in tomorrow. I'll do the,
And I'll give you a copy
table.
of this with plants that are on this side of the fence.
Okay.
I'll give it to you right now.
Sounds like a plan. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you so much for the detail. Thanks for coming out.
As a separate note, I didn't want to trade on this favor or anything, but years ago, I was the shade tree liaison from planning.
I love it. Thank you, Skip. Appreciate your service. Okay. 234 Windermere Ave. Do we have anyone from 234 Windermere? All right. 610 King of Prussia. Good evening. 40 dead ash trees, or 40 dead trees, 9 of which are ash.
Hello, how are you? I'm John Verbrugge from John B. Ward. So, Villanova obviously bought the Cabrini campus, and they had put together a bid to a couple vendors in the area for all of these trees, and they are all dead. Tree lines near buildings, there's not a single live tree that they have denoted coming out, and they're all been deteriorating rapidly over the past few weeks this summer. Every time a storm comes through, the road's been blocked. There's a couple hanging over Eagle Road that I have to figure out how to get down carefully and safely because they're going to block the road. So we're just doing some much-needed deferred maintenance cleanup before something falls on one of the buildings. As you can see, this one here, this one's over the main roadway. More of these are in the tree line. So that's they've rolled more or less in the 24 to 30 inch range and just been neglected or on the edge of, they're out of landscaped areas, you could say, for the most part.
Yeah, I have driven by Cabrini quite a few times, and they stick out like a sore thumb. And they're all the trees that you're removing, which is 40 total, they're all
Dead.
completely dead, very
Yep.
similar to what's pictured, correct?
Exactly. Not a single live tree is coming out in this round.
Okay. Per ordinance, we do require a hazard tree report to be submitted.
Okay.
Was that?
I just thought that this superseded that in a sense.
I mean,
I can fill it
I think
out.
it's very clear, but I think just from a formality perspective, get that submitted to the township.
So John, all you have to do is go on, you have the pictures documentation,
Yeah,
which is 90% of it. You just got to give us a list of the trees,
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's it.
Okay.
And
Which
I
you
would-
already did. It just needs
Yeah.
to be on the formal,
That one, got it.
that
Yeah.
one sheet.
The heritage tree
Yeah,
page.
so
Yep.
I know that, you guys want to get started ASAP on this, so if you can get that submitted tomorrow, John can take a look at it. All good. You guys should be able to start work as soon as possible.
That'd be great. Thank you.
But before that, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in
Well,
favor?
I should add, since Villanova owns Cabrini now, I can't vote because I work for Villanova, so is that going to throw off quorum?
We need 4.
You need 4,
but
okay, so you're good.
but
I mean,
Thank you
I'm
for
in
that.
favor, but I just can't. So
Thank you for that, and also any public comment before we vote and take a motion. Thank you. All right, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. With,
Stay safe.
Thank you, yes. It's going to be a
10
daunting
abstains.
task.
Just fill out
Thank
that
you.
one sheet, John, and get it over to me tomorrow. That's
Okay,
it.
appreciate
2
it.
minutes.
Thank you.
cool. All right. Circling back, anyone from 770 Newtown? No. Anyone from 234 Windermere? No. So mark it for the record that we'll need to have 770 Newtown Road come back. We'll need to have 60 West come back, which they confirmed they'll be here next month. And then 234 Windermere Ave, they'll need to come back. Okay, moving on to item 7, violation notices, none indicated. And moving into old business, item 8, we've got a bunch of great things to recap, talk about. Frank, you want to kick us off with the Healing the Planet grant?
Yes, that was the grant we put in earlier in the summer. We did not get it. It was coming from Giant Foods, so that was a loser for us. But Melissa came up with another grant from PICO. Ian, could we pull up that presentation? I can't do anything without PowerPoint.
We know that, Frank.
This grant, it's $10,000. The application's due at the end of next month. The funny thing about this, it requires 50% matching. And they don't take services, they don't take in lieu of or in kind type material contributions. So it comes down to we would have to have $10,000 in cash to match their $10,000 if we won the grant, won the application. So before we go ahead to actually apply for the grant, which is not a big deal, I think we might need some sort of approvals from someone to say that we can supply the matching.
Well, and I think the $20,000 that was just approved by the board this past Monday would suffice for that, in my opinion. I mean, we can double check with Melissa Kahn, but I think we'll be all right there.
Okay, good. And Melissa continues to be looking for grant opportunities for us.
Great.
Okay.
If you could go to slide 2 for me. So the one thing Ricky and I caught up about this, which is a great opportunity. I think one of the stipulations is that this grant is named an open space grant, which means plantings in parks and other open spaces. So the one thing that we'll need to discuss tonight and then have Melissa confirm with PICO and the folks involved with the grant would be, if we're spending $20,000 on trees and 100 of those are going to residents, 50 of those are going to the park, Emlyn Tunnel, that percentage obviously is, we've got, what, roughly 30% going into a park and then 60% going to the streets. So that math doesn't add up, does it? We'll just all understand the percentages there. So the point being, what we might have to do is shift some of the trees that are going to residents to more going into parks.
Yeah, we could do 75 and 75.
75 and 75. It might need to be higher than that. What dovetails into this is with the long-term tree removal projects across the parks, we still need to devise a specific recommendation of 1-to-1, if that's what we so choose to do. And, these could be, part of that process or that count, if you will. So after we had discussed and I had thought about it, I mean, it's free money. Why would we pass it up? So I think my proposal would be exactly what you had just stated, which is 75-75, and see what PICO thinks. One could argue that street trees, although not traditionally considered an open space, in some cases, it is serving the public because they are street trees. They're not trees buried in the backs of yards.
I do recall in reading the application, street trees would be part of beautifying the community because they can
Okay.
be seen. So we should, I'll double check this, but I'm pretty sure it would be okay with street trees,
Okay.
right-of-way trees.
So let's have Melissa verify with PICO and see if 150 or 75-75, whatever percentage would appease, and just, make a point to say that the resident plantings are street trees.
Okay.
And then that would determine what, talking to me? Okay. And then that would determine the counts that we need to place. Obviously, if we did 75 in Parks, I don't think we can fit 75
I was
in
gonna say
Emlyn
that.
to Nell.
Yeah, I mean, Sarah thinks we can, but
But I'm sure we can find another park to plant trees.
we did actually, when we were doing the $4,000 grant, had backup in 2 other parks in Garrett Hill that could use trees. So Garrett Hill would still benefit from this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think we would have any issue finding a spot.
So that's it.
Thank you. Obviously, logistically, that will affect a couple of things, but just so we can nail down the counts and the logistics, because there's a lot of aspects to this, obviously, from a planning perspective, volunteers and everything else. So our next meeting in October would still give us, another month until planting comes up. So I think that gives us plenty of time. So if we could get,
Seth, can I
yes,
ask a question? I see the 50 trees for Emlyn to know. Do we have a plan for where they would be going?
so we had discussed throwing as many as we can into Emlyn to Nell, and then throwing a few into, is it Erkin? Unkerford Park, thank you, Sarah.
Okay.
Throwing a few there. I think, but before we commit to the 50 in Emlyn to Nell and Erkin Park, we need to have Ledgerton, yourself.
I would like
Yeah.
to have a conversation with him. I'm just imagining, even if you put 25 trees in Emlyn to know, everywhere that we cut right up to the fence around that whole park.
Mhm.
That whole park is maintained by us. There is no woods there. So even if we threw half of those trees there, that's 25 trees that we will have to go around every time we cut.
Smaller mower.
Pardon me?
Smaller mower.
We have a smaller mowers. Thank you, though. But I would at least like him to vet it. I'm not saying that we can't do it. 50, I would disagree with, but I would like his opinion on that. I mean, I feel like 25 or 20 would still be a great increase to what's there. But, part of it is also adding to our tree canopy, but also not trying to increase the amount of workload that Public Works has to do, and in particular parks, to be able to get the job done. So even if we spread it out between the 3 parks that are down there, Rosemont is also their Clemacrone, if you will. I feel like we can also, stretch it out between those 3 places, if possible. I mean, if John has anything else to say, I mean, I'm trying to
I mean, we just took out, 27 ash at Clemacrone, and there's along the riparian buffer there. So that would be an ideal area to reforest for sure. But we can look at it.
Yeah.
We just don't have a lack of need. That's good.
That is good. Yeah, and I know we've been trying to stay at one location for the park planting, but I think, this can be that exception. Clemacrone's not that far away from Emlyn to now, and we can knock out Emlyn first, go to Clemacrone with,
On the same subject with the planting plan that Ricky was talking about, do you get a list of what trees we're gonna get?
Yes, I have a list
So
that I can
think
share.
one of us, like myself or John or Jen, Matt, whoever, Seth, we should take a look at the trees and make sure we're putting them in the right spot.
Right,
If we're putting some
correct.
by the riparian buffer, we need to make sure it's gonna do well there.
absolutely. Yeah, and we had
So-
Eugenia and Jen, you looked at the lists when we planted at the Willows last fall.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So we should do the same.
Yeah,
again this
agree.
year.
And just a quick note to that. So we did open up registration for residents during the Fall Fest. That day, we had gotten 17 folks to sign up. I just checked today. We're already up to 45 without doing any sort of promotion.
And we're talking about trees, not volunteers?
Trees, not volunteers.
Okay.
Volunteers, we are up to, one moment, please. 6, but again, we haven't promoted this at all yet.
Well, as a result of the Fall Festival, there is a softball team of 12 young women that want to volunteer.
Oh, great.
So I don't think we're going to have a lack of volunteers.
No.
And they could be assigned to a park as a group.
I don't think so as well. But my point of bringing that up was that we started doing registration with inventory 2 plantings ago or whenever it was. So the full list of 150 that we ordered, either 100 or 75 of those species are going to be reserved for residents. And then we get to pick and place from the remaining, which we can work with.
Shouldn't be an issue because it's a list of native trees.
Yeah,
Large most of them of which are large canopy trees.
Right. Great, so I would say, obviously, proceed with the grant. Just need to clarify some of the details around what qualifies. But good work.
Okay, cool.
So if you got the grant, just so I understand it, would that mean you have 30,000 and
I'm sorry, can you come up to the mic so it can be recorded?
Thank you. Yep. Public comment, please.
Sorry.
Public arithmetic.
Hi, I'm Lorna Atkinson. Hey, and I'm actually here with the Radnor Conservancy, but I was just interested in this grant that my question is, if you get the grant, does that mean you have 30,000 to spend and you would plant a third extra trees? I was just wanting to clarify that.
I mean, you could look at it 2 different ways. One is we're saving $10,000, so out of pocket to us is only $10,000.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, that frees up an additional $10,000 for us. We're likely, and we are keeping our order, because it's already been placed, to 150 trees. So that'll just give us some more wiggle room for the spring planting.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And that is due by soon? 24th of October? Okay. And just a note, obviously, just learning through that grant opportunity through Giant, there's a lot of people that submitted applications, and we unfortunately didn't get it. So hopefully we can get this one, but I wouldn't want to position ourselves where we couldn't do our planting if we didn't get the grant. But I don't
Frank, do we know who they gave it to, Giant? Because I heard a lot of townships applied and they all got denied.
Yeah, there was,
Interesting.
apparently going to be multiple awards. It wasn't just 10,000, but I don't know who got it. And more importantly, I don't know why we didn't get it. I can follow up on that, see if we can find out any information. Can I just add a couple of other things?
You may.
PHS was limiting all of their applicants to about 78 trees. And they gave us some slack and allowed us to order 150 trees. So that was very nice of them to do that.
Also, we're number one, 150 trees. The next township was 30 trees, by far. So there was a big surge
And-
during COVID. Did I steal your thunder, Frank? Sorry.
Get away from me too.
No, no, you did not steal any thunder. I was just also going to, we are number one, and Steph is very right in pointing that out. That's bragging rights and stuff. But in addition to that, they offered us another 20 oak trees that we couldn't take. And I think it was basically a capacity issue of getting them in the ground and paying for them and stuff. But there's a lot of trees out there that are to be had. The other thing, oh shoot, I can't remember what I was going to say, but it was incredibly important. It would have ended the war in Ukraine. Anyway, sorry.
Great. Well, thank you, Frank. Keep us posted on that grant. And Ricky, that grant opportunity came to you from PICO. So it seems as if there's a decent chance that we might get it. So all good stuff. Thank you. All right. So we talked about grant, the fall tree planting. Registration is open.
Frank, Seth, sorry,
Yes.
Sarah has.
Sarah? You may.
Sarah Pilling, 29 Garrett Avenue, for Emlyn Tennell. Because I live there and I walk there and I watch it, what I have studied it quite seriously this spring and summer, it got pretty hot pretty fast. And what we discovered, because Emlyn Tennell is intense uses in the spring for the baseball, the people who were watching the baseball game on the far side were sitting on the path behind them. No one sits on the bench anymore because there's too much sun. So I know Ricky is concerned about grass cutting, but we need to provide some shade for them, because it isn't going to get better. And for those who were watching the game on the upside, they were sitting in the middle of where the old oak trees were. So Frank and I had talked about developing sort of a copse in there so they could get it, because no one sits on the benches anymore. Maybe they do at 9 o'clock in the morning. But the games that the parents come to is in the afternoon, and it's just too damn hot. What we really need to do is provide shade for the people who use the field. The walking path is used a great deal more, and I'm still appealing to Ricky to do something about it because it's really falling apart. But there's a constant stream of elderly people walking the walking circuit. And as soon as it gets hot, the walking circuit is only on the far side of the field, closer to Radnor House. They walk sort of half of it, and then they turn around. It is just too hot to walk it in the sun. So I'd like to put in that play from the bench as an appeal of someone who sees it all the time.
Thank you, Sarah. Ricky, is there an idea where we could, if we plant a line of trees, maybe just do a mulch instead of having to mow, throw some wood chips down?
I will talk with Steve tomorrow and see what his opinion is. I know we can have some trees in there. I'm not saying 50. I think that's a bit much.
49.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, we'll touch base with Steve and see, because it has to be areas. So between Steve and John, what their opinions are, I will consider that. Even with the tree bid from the trees that are going to be removed from Tennell, the majority of those trees are outside the park that we're taking off. They're outside the fence, Radnor House property. So it's not even like we're taking down trees inside the park. There may be.
Removing the shade by
Agreed, agreed. Yeah, we'll look into it and see if we can put trees along that outer perimeter on the other side of the trail. That is where we're going to try to attack. And just to your point of the trail, the walking path, that is on our list of things to do. So that's not a fast project. So they've been working with the highway supervisor, Steve's park supervisor, have been coming up with a plan. And just so you know, that that part where the dirt continues to wash down, I actually talked to Steve today, and they were talking about putting in posts and rails, I don't want to say rails, not a post and rails, but they're going to put in something to basically keep all that dirt in place. You know, so you asked for that, and it is on the list of things to do.
James Coates, we got money from the new twins that are to go on Locust Grove, whatever, Summit. Was Leah up in James Coates, the commissioner, is trying to get that money to pay for at least part of the new walking trail.
That's great to hear. We'll can't wait to see how that turns out.
Ricky, go ahead, James.
Question about you said trees on the other side. Are we taking, or is the township taking trees down on Radnor House property?
The ones that are over the fence, I mean, legally, anything that goes onto your property line, you can take down. So we're taking down the ones that are.
So it's on their property?
Yeah, the trees are on their property, but the branches are coming over onto ours.
And are they dead? Is that why you're taking
They're
them down?
hazards.
So could you, I'm just saying to save some money for everybody, could you just contact Radnor House and tell them that they have a hazardous tree coming over our property? And
we could.
See if
we
they
could see if they'll do it, or
I
we
mean,
could just take.
I know it might be a little bit of work, but
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
their trees, and anytime
from
when
the relationship that I've seen with a lot of places, they don't move too fast when it comes to that. So, I mean, I can definitely reach out to them and see if they're going to do that.
When are you guys planning on doing it?
That is in the second year, so that would be 2026. Tennell is on there. So,
Got
yeah,
2 years
they have
to see, send a
yeah.
letter over there, and, I mean, if you guys went to a property, like a dispute between two neighbors, you would say, tree is dead on their side, right? And
Yeah, we don't get involved if it's civil.
not anymore.
Yeah.
But you used to get in before we did the ordinance change,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we can
Tax-
give it.
I'm not a rich man, and taxes keep going up.
Yeah.
So, if it's somebody else's tree, I think we should
Yeah.
try to get them to do it.
Yeah, we can.
I'm sure
we
they
can
would if
give
the
it.
township went to them.
Yeah, I will give them a
You guys
call
have
and
done
see
it
if we can do
before on Conestoga Road, when there's been hazardous trees hanging over the road. You've contacted the homeowners and told them that they need to remove a tree. That's been done in the past, and it's come here to us before. So I don't see the difference, except it's a community, like their condos or whatever.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
Just a thought.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And we could also offer to plant trees to replace on their property, the ones that are coming out, just as a incentive, possibly. Okay. Just a quick couple of other updates on old business, if we don't have anything else on the fall planting. I did get, Shriner gave me a verbal on volunteering his guys. Again, I'm going to reach out to the usual suspects and get our crew lined up for volunteers to plant in the fall. But I'm imagining we'll have no short staff there. So news to come on the specifics. Fall Fest was a great success. That was the 16th. Frank and I manned it. I would guess we probably had over 100 people come by. We didn't necessarily count, but out of that, James was gracious to provide what was that, a red maple?
Yeah.
And you dropped it off the following morning. Thanks again. So we did a guess of how many trees that we've planted since 2020, which was 783. They guessed 768, so 15 away. Good work. And Kristen had a few signs, a few new signs created for us. So They were. I think, stepping back and looking at our setup, yeah, grabbed a lot of attention, lured kids in with candy, got them excited about trees. Representative Borowski stopped by, said hi, so it was a success. And the mission of that, of course, is to spread our word about our mission, the ordinance, but then also get people to sign up for the street tree plantings, and then also the volunteer tree planting. So I think, all things considered, successful day. All right, item D, so shade
Seth,
tree, yes.
I'm sorry, before you jump on, since it's attached to the Fall Festival, I know this is something that we talked about with John and the Public Works staff, Parks Department, to prune the trees in the center of Wayne. They started on September 10th, I think was a Tuesday, and they completed it by the end of the week. So
Great.
They had a chance to get all those trees pruned right before the Fall Festival. So I just wanted to kind of give you an update while we're on the Fall Festival topic. And in the process of John being up there, our staff was also trained, I think about 3 or 4 guys, how to prune the trees the right way. So it was definitely a team up, but also a training session. So just want to thank John and also just alert the staff, the committee, to that being handled.
Yes, thank you for doing that, guys. Appreciate it, and the trees did look great for that, so appreciate it. And the trees along Lancaster are getting to a noticeable size now, which is great to see. Yeah, it is. Fruits of our labor. All right, ordinance updates. So the formula update and then the ash removal update was introduced during the September 9th Board of Commissioners meeting. So that was submitted and approved to move forward. So 30 days, and then that will be up for adoption by the BOC. And then that will be stamped in time. And then any new plans that come through us, basically the only change is this, which is every plan will now need to have every single tree accounted for on the plans. And then if it's over 50% that's being removed, then the formula increases. So it shouldn't be too much of an additional burden, but just noting that. And then the second, I'll say BOC approval or resolution that was approved on Monday night was for the purchase of the 150 trees. So I know that order's been placed. As far as the logistics itself, just some dates specifically for the record. So all of this is on radnortrees.com, but we do plan to pick the trees up November, I think it's 12th, 13th, around that time frame. And then we'll be planting trees between the 13th and the 20th. The park planting, Saturday, November 16th, with a rain date of Sunday, November 17th. More details to come. Any other old business to chat about? All right. Item 9, new business, STC educational message. Leah?
That was Eugenia's
Yeah.
newsletter.
Perfect. So we've featured a few pieces in the Radnor News magazine that goes out. I think we've had 2 or 3 so far, so we're working on putting together the next piece, which will be for the winter edition at this point. So more news to come there, but it's just another way for us to get our message out. All right, moving this along. Anything else, new business? All good? All right, hazardous trees removed by residents. John or Ricky, have any highlights there?
Standard, nothing out of the ordinary.
Throw your mic on, John.
Nothing crazy out of the ordinary. Seems like the request for removals has come to a halt. We haven't had many in the last, I think in the last 3 weeks, we've maybe had 1 or 2, which is great. So no, just your standard risk-related trees.
Sounds good. Thank you for that. Yeah, I did look through the file. They all looked dead. Item 11, trees removed by Radnor Township. Any highlights?
The only thing that I will note on there was the West Wayne Cemetery, that Norway maple. That was one that was at the edge of West Wayne Avenue, closer to where that small house is located. Storm came through, we had a branch basically fall off the tree. That branch was cleaned up. Then we had John take a look at it, and that was like the center, limb in that tree. So basically it was structurally unsound after that. So the whole tree has come down since then. So the stump has been grinded out. That was everything that went through John, but I want to let everyone know that it's more than just a limb cleanup. That was the initial start of that tree. And initially we had did some work at the cemetery removing trees. That was the only tree we weren't able to get assessed because of the ivy covering it. So it unfortunately has had its demise since that time with the limb falling, and then the shape that it was left in had to be removed.
Anybody in that house?
Somebody bought it and fixing it up. It actually.
Was living there when the.
No.
Oh, good.
They were actually fixing it up when the limb actually hit the house. So they had notified us and let us know that it did some damage, and the limb was actually still laying on the house. So
Yeah,
that's when
I saw
we came and acted.
Just hoping nobody got hurt, that's all.
And I see on 10 Arthur, there were 2 sycamores pruned, looks like.
Clean prune, there were some dead limbs about 2/3 of the way up that the resident within the right of way was concerned about.
Yeah.
Great. Thank
And
you.
we had
We're doing
some.
a lot of pruning versus removal, which is good.
Yep, good to hear.
And in that area, since you brought that up, this was brought up because a limb had actually fell on a car and did some damage to the car. So we went out, and John recommended that we try to take some of the weight off of it by doing the pruning.
Awesome. Love to hear pruning over removal, so thank you. All right, any public participation? All right, I'm going to call this meeting. We're adjourned. Thank you much.